The top three names, it is Ronald Johnson, it is Terry Cole, and it is Cash Patel. It clearly knows, and the cartel clearly knows that they're getting hit really bad.
America, we need to talk about something that happened this week that should have every single one of you paying attention. A Mexican cartel did something unprecedented. They put up banners in Los Cabos, a major tourist destination, threatening to kill our FBI director by name. Not just by threatening, they're putting bounties on the heads of top federal law enforcement officials. But here's what mainstream media won't tell you. This isn't a sign of cartel strength. This is pure desperation, and it tells us everything we need to know about what Trump policies are actually accomplishing. What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This story is absolutely wild, and when you understand what's really happening behind the scenes, you'll see why cartels are lashing out like cornered animals. Let me break down exactly what happened because the details matter. On October 5th, 2025, Los Cabos, Mexico, this is where Americans vacation, where they retire, where they quote unquote feel safe. At 3 a.m., cartel members hung banners throughout the city with a hit list of American officials.
Breaking news. A cartel banner was discovered in Los Cabos, Baja California Sur, reportedly signed by La Chapitza, a fraction of the Sinaloa cartel linked to Los Cabos.
Now listen to these names carefully. FBI Director Cash Patel, DEA Head Terry Cole, and U.S. Ambassador to Mexico Ronald Johnson. These aren't random names. These are three people who have been systematically dismantling cartel operations, and the cartels know exactly who's hurting them.
The top three names on this banner, it is concerning. There's two things that are concerning.
But here's what really gets me fired up. They didn't just threaten our officials. They threatened every American citizen in Los Cabos. The banner said, and I quote, "Every American citizen who resides in Cabo San Lucas, San Jose del Cabo is being targeted. And we are the ones who call the shots, and we are the ones in charge." Think about that for a second. Mexican cartels are now openly threatening American civilians on Mexican soil because our government is finally doing its job. This is what happens when you actually enforce law enforcement instead of playing patty cake with drug dealers. Now, the mainstream media is probably going to spin this in some kind of failure. Trump's policies are making things worse. That's completely, absolutely garbage. That is exactly what winning looks like in the short term, and here's why. When you systematically destroy a criminal organization's business model, they don't just disappear quietly. They lash out like a crazy ex-girlfriend. They make threats, they get desperate, and that is exactly what we're seeing here.
Just a couple of days ago, it was reported by the Department of Treasury that 12 companies were discovered, and they're on the loop, and they are going to be shut down because they were providing precursors in substances, illegal substances.
You heard that right. The Treasury Department just exposed 12 companies that were supplying chemicals to make fentanyl. These weren't small operations. These were legitimate businesses providing raw materials for massive fentanyl production. And the banner appeared the next few days after this announcement. The cartels are getting hit where it hurts them most, in their paquitos, with their money. Fentanyl production is being disrupted. Gun shipments from El Paso are being intercepted. Their laboratories are being confiscated, and their political protection is being exposed. This banner isn't a show of strength. It is a temper tantrum. It is what happens when billion-dollar criminal enterprises realize their business model is being systematically destroyed. But here's something that should concern every American about these threats: the level of detail these cartels have about our operations. They know exactly who's running the show. They have names, positions, and operational details.
This cartel banner came up, and the most concerning thing about it is that on the top three names, you don't see the Mexican president.
Oscar Ramirez makes a crucial point here. The Mexican president isn't even in the top three targets. The cartels know that the real pressure is coming from American law enforcement, not Mexican corrupt politicians. That tells you two things. First, the corruption in the Mexican government runs deep that these cartels don't even see Mexican officials as a threat. Second, our operations are so effective that we're the primary target. This level of intelligence means the cartels have sources inside the Mexican government, possibly inside our own operations. When criminal organizations put together detailed lists of American officials, that is a national security problem that goes far beyond drug trafficking. The fact that they specifically mentioned stopping laboratory seizures and gun trafficking tells us exactly what operations are working. They're not complaining about the things that don't hurt them. This threat didn't happen in a vacuum. It's part of a broader pattern of desperation we're seeing from the cartels as Trump policies are taking effect. Remember, under Under Biden, these cartels grew unprecedented power. They were making billions and billions of dollars off of fentanyl trafficking, human smuggling, and gun running. And they had political protection, operational freedom, and a business model that seemed quote unquote untouchable. Now we're watching their revenue streams getting cut off one by one. Fentanyl seizures are up, border crossings are down, political allies are getting their visas revoked and facing investigation.
Well, they don't have no other choice. The
Right.
tariff, the 25% tariff that it was implemented on the Trump administration, on the Mexican government.
The 25% tariff threat worked. Mexico is now actively cooperating with American border security in ways that we haven't seen in decades. The National Guard of Mexico is working with our National Guard in the United States. Illegal crossings have basically virtually stopped. But here's what the media won't tell you. The cooperation comes after a cost. When you force corrupt Mexican officials to choose between American economic pressure and cartel threats, some of them are going to get desperate, and desperate people do dangerous things. Now, here's something that should terrify every American. Oscar Ramirez points out that Antifa is copying cartel tactics. They're using the same intimidation strategies, the same targeted threats, and the same operational methods.
Antifa, it is copy-pasting what the cartel it is doing in Mexico. Immediately, Antifa, needs to be designated as a terrorist organization immediately, and the American authorities need to act immediately.
This isn't a coincidence. When you have Mexican cartels openly threatening American officials and domestic terrorist groups adopting the same tactics, you look at a coordinated assault on American law enforcement. The cartels are testing our resolve. They want to see if threatening our FBI director will make us back down. They want to know if targeting American civilians will force us to change our policies. But here's one thing. If we show weakness now, if we let these cartel influence our operations, every terrorist organization in the world will take note. This isn't just about drug policy. This is about whether America will be intimidated by criminal organizations. What does the cartel banner really tell us? 3 things in my opinion. First, Trump's border and drug policies are working. You don't threaten people unless they're hurting you. The fact that the cartels are desperate enough to put bounties on FBI directors means our operations are devastating their business model. Second, we're in a dangerous transition period. When you corner dangerous animals, they become completely unpredictable. The cartels are going to lash out, and they're going to make some threats, and they might even try to follow through with some of them. Third, this is bigger than just drug trafficking. This is about whether criminal organizations can intimidate the United States government. If we back down now, every cartel, every terrorist group, every enemy of America will know that threats work. The question isn't whether these threats are serious. They absolutely are. The question is whether we have the resolve to continue operations that are clearly working, even if criminals try to intimidate us. Here's something else that we need to talk about. The Mexican government's response to this threat. They removed the banners quickly to prevent quote unquote panic, but what are they really doing to protect American citizens? When cartels can hang bounty posters in major tourist destinations at 3 a.m. without being caught, that tells you everything you need to know about Mexican law enforcement capabilities. Either they're incompetent, or they're complicit, or corrupt. The fact that these banners appeared immediately after the Treasury Department announced suggests that cartels have real intelligence about American operations. The intelligence is coming from somewhere, and it's probably not from an American source. This puts the Mexican government in an impossible situation. They need American economic cooperation, but they also have to deal with cartels that have threatened their officials and their economy. Some Mexican politicians are going to choose the cartels over America, and we need to be prepared for that. America, this cartel threat against our FBI director isn't just a law enforcement issue. It is a test of American resolve. These criminal organizations want to know if they can intimidate us into backing down from policies that are clearly working. And the answer is absolutely not. When cartels threaten American officials, when they target American civilians, when they try to dictate American policies through intimidation, our response should be double down on the operation that are hurting them the most. This is why elections matter. This is why having leaders who understand that strength prevents war, not causing it, matters. The previous administration let these cartels grow to unprecedented power. Now we're seeing what it takes to actually fight back. But we need to understand that this fight is far from over. The cartels are desperate, which means that makes them dangerous. They have intelligence sources, financial resources, and operational capabilities that rival some national states. The good news is that desperation means that that we're winning. The bad news is that desperate criminals do desperate things. We need to stay vigilant, stay informed, and support the law enforcement officials who are putting their lives on the line to dismantle these organizations. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.